Yeah, so as you know, that fire was reported just after midnight today. It involved a structure of residence. So we have since learned that two structures, two residences have been impacted, destroyed by the fire. The fire engulfed about 1,100 acres. Not all of that was burning, but that's the sort of the area that we were trying to contain. We had 80 people evacuating from 40 homes. There were 54 people as of 11 a.m. this morning at the Pukalani Hannibal Tavares Community Center. 17 dogs, 7 cats. Ka'ona'ulu Ranch also opened up Oski Rice Arena, their social hall, as well as their stables to allow larger farm animals to be housed there during this emergency. That's not a Red Cross staffed location, but that was offered by the community. We had 29 firefighters working up there from different stations. We had several assets from the private sector, state folks offered, I think from Department of Forestry and Wildlife, about 28 of them volunteered to also come to help us. Lots of, for example, Goodfellow using their equipment to help us fight the fire. The biggest problem we're having is the wind. Because wind gusts were recorded up to 80 miles an hour, that impacted the ability to get our helicopters in the air to use a water drop. While we have 4 helicopters available, we were not able to use them. And it was mostly to not endanger the pilot or the crew. So we did not have that. As the day has gone on, we're monitoring the wind. And when that wind goes down below a certain, I don't know what the tolerance amount is, then we're able to get our more crews or more assets in the air. And that's the latest there. There were downed power lines, downed trees mostly that was affecting power. So we asked people to conserve water because not having power affects our ability to pump water to people's homes. Also in Lahaina, there was also a factor, power outage in Lahaina. The Lahaina issue was 3 acres. That was contained by 9:04 a.m. We had only 2 people turn up at the Lahaina Civic Center shelter. But that also experienced a power outage that impacted residences. We closed our motor vehicle DMV office in Lahaina. We also moved our DMV folks from Pukalani to Central, to the service center, because they were experiencing a lot of smoke in that area.
Okay, going back up to the Kula fire, you
Yes.
had mentioned a structure too that was impacted. Is that where the fire started?
I'm not sure. We still haven't gotten our report yet from the fire department that are investigating it. But I know the fire was reported at 12:22 in the morning, and that I know one residence had been declared, that had burnt. The second one was also, luckily no injuries, no people were in the homes. I think the first home they evacuated, the second home there were no occupants. But I don't know if the fire started there.
Okay, is there any information on containment at this point?
Again, Lahaina contained this morning. As of 11 a.m. today, the fire in Kula was not contained.
I know that this is kind of reminds us of the situation that we had back when Hurricane Lane came through and all
Yeah.
the fires that happened.
Yes.
Is there anything that you want to tell residents to feel a little sense of safety or?
Yes, absolutely. We want our folks, especially if you're in that proximity to these areas, to heed the warnings of our first responders. If you are asked to evacuate, we ask you to please comply. Again, we have shelters open. We do have the Red Cross we're working with. We want people to be safe by having if they have to evacuate. We know that people are getting the information from online sources and, of course, our traditional media. So we want to make sure people keep track, whether it's mauicounty.gov, mema.gov, or the various news agencies. We want them to keep up on any road closures, any school closures, any county services or state services closed. So that's the best thing, is for people to keep informed. I know some people already have their preparation kits, hurricane kits, because of Hurricane Calvin. So we do want people to make sure they continue to stay vigilant. And when it comes to power lines, we want people to treat any down power line as energized and remind people not to approach it, not to try to clear the road themselves. So it's mostly listening and paying attention to what's the most up-to-date information we're giving.
Okay. And then finally, you had mentioned that this is hurricane season all the
Yes.
way through November. Do you relate this to Hurricane Dora passing
Absolutely.
south of us?
Yeah. So Hurricane Dora, we as as it had been predicted, was going to be well south of us. However, the winds were going to impact us last night and today. Now, if it was just the wind but no fires, then that it would have been windy and some people might have had some damage. But whatever started the fire, the winds, of course, continued to flame them or fuel them, and that also caused us to not have the assets of our helicopter. So that is impacted by the hurricane, and so although far away from us, still has some impact.